Hello and welcome to Prudent IAS, one-stop solution for all the competitive exams. So we have completed almost 1/3 of our answer writing series, and today we'll be focusing mainly on the answer writing strategy. I'll be telling you about all the parameters which you need to keep in mind while writing the answers. I'll give you some tips, some tricks as well, and then we will look at one answer written by our student and the evaluation done by the evaluator, where I'll tell you what each comment means, which parameter is it actually checking. So it's going to be really helpful for you. Let's quickly begin. First up is content. Now, the most important part, whenever you read the question, you need to note down the demand of the question. वो किस बारे में बात कर रहा है? What is it actually asking? And accordingly, you will have to write the content. While writing content, you need to keep in mind one thing, that you do not write everything you know. This means if the question is asking only about the challenges, the features, then write only about the challenges and the features and skip the potentials. Don't overwrite the things. Keep content strictly as per the question demand. Next up is the structure of the answer. Throughout my videos, I have emphasized that structure is extremely important. Now, structure needs to be in introduction, body, and conclusion. Very simple, but most of the students often omit this conclusion. For all the GS papers, you can follow this approach, except for ethics. It can be different, but majorly it will be the same. Introduction, body, and conclusion, where in the body you will use headings, subheadings, and points. This is the basic structure. Heading will be as per the question demand. Subheadings will be concise. You can omit the subheadings if you feel that you won't be able to write anything under it. Then points, try to use alphanumeric digits, that is 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C for numbering the points instead of using arrows, asterisk or dots. So omit these and stick to alphanumeric digits. For conclusion, conclusion needs to be balanced conclusion. Do not choose sides while writing the opinion-based answers. Always end on a positive note. Coming to the most important part, handwriting. Who says handwriting has no plain answer writing? It is most important. Why? Because once the examiner will get your copy, the first impression will be through your handwriting, the presentation. I don't say that you need to have a very beautiful cursive handwriting, but the handwriting needs to be neat and legible. Now this means avoid cutting as much as possible. If the need arises, then just cut it as, for example, this is the word you want to cut, just cut it in single line. Make it as neat as possible and legible. Often students have good hold on content, they have addressed the demand, but because of poor handwriting, we are even unable to understand what the student has written. It is hardly legible. Next parameter is language proficiency. Now, what is language proficiency? See, you have chosen this English medium yourself. Nobody has forced you. For this, you need to have some hold on English grammar. Avoid grammatical mistakes, because even though if you have conceptual clarity, you have analysis, but if you don't know how to write that in the answer sheet, then whole process will be lost. The whole meaning will be lost. So avoid the grammatical mistakes. You still have ample time. Just work on these. Try to write answers in basic, simple language. Don't use complex sentences, complex jargons. But keep in mind the use of terminology. What is this terminology? As always mentioned throughout the videos, use subject specific terminology. For economy, there might be some different terms. For science and tech, different terms. For polity, likewise. So try to use those words specifically. Like for science and tech, you can use words like digital divide, etc. These are very important to make the write-up better, make the answer quality better. Next is the use of diagrams and maps. This is most important while writing the geography answers. Apart from that, in any GS throughout, if you have some diagram, some map in mind, do draw it, but make sure one thing, if this is the answer sheet, right? Then where you are going to draw the diagram? Throughout this page, full page? No. Just make one small box here. You can draw any diagram, any map here. Do not use full page. The scale needs to be short because you have limited space for writing the answer. So just use small space, but label the diagrams. It is very important to label the diagrams neatly. For example, you have a small scale diagram, then just point out 1 or 2 or 3 points. Do not over label it or make it congested. Make sure it is very neat. Another parameter is time management. While writing, while attempting the answers, if you will complete the paper in time, if you have attempted all the questions, trust me, your chances of clearing the exam are very high than those who have not finished the exam. So you need to keep a check on time. For this, what exercise can be done? Always while writing the answers, use a timer. For 10-mark question, use 7 to 10 minutes. The lesser, the better. For 15-mark question, use 11 to 13 minutes. I know in the beginning this is not going to come at once. You might take even 18 minutes, and for 10 mark you might take 15 minutes, but day by day some improvement will definitely be shown if you will follow all these parameters. You will write according to these parameters. Next is the word limit. For 10-mark answer, the word limit is 150. For 15-mark answer, it is 250. Now, it is specifically mentioned in the question for some reason, right? You are not supposed to breach this word limit. If the word limit is 150, you can write from 145 to 152, 153, at max 155, but not 160. So, do not breach this word limit. At the same time, if the word limit is 250, then you are not going to write 260 words, but don't fall short. That means if the question is asking for 250 words, at least write 240 to 245 words. Do not write just 180 or 190 words. So, always fulfill the word limit criteria. These are all parameters which are ultimately going to help you in getting more marks. Next up is the multidimensionality. Now, what is this? Often I have come across a lot of students who follow the intro body conclusion approach. Introduction is fine, conclusion is fine, but in the body of answer, they'll write one point and second point and a detailed explanation of these points. No, this is not right way of attempting the answers. Choose as many dimensions, that is 1, 2, 3. For a 10-mark question, you can choose 3 to 4 dimensions. For 15-mark, 4 to 5 dimensions. As per the word limit, as per your knowledge, can be used. Try to use number of dimensions and keep the explanation part in very brief. So, this was mainly about the parameters. Now, what are some tips that can be followed while writing the answers? Let me quickly point out all the tips for you. First is the 7-second rule. Now, your aim must be to engage the examiner in the very first 7 seconds of reading the answer. How this can be done is by making the introduction effective. If the intro is effective, if the start is very good, then the examiner will have the image in mind that, okay, you have addressed the demand, you have good knowledge about the topic, you have written a very good answer. So, the first 7 seconds play a huge role. How can introduction be better? This can be by the use of definitions. Define the key terms or add some data, that is facts and figures, or you can relate with the current topics or the current development about that topic. So in the very first 2 lines of the answers, if you are engaging the examiner, the chances of getting good marks are high. Now, this exercise can be done by reading the topper's answer. You can get very good clarity how their introductions are effective. Then you can compare your answers as well. Another important question often the students ask is from where to get these resources, how to maintain the resources for answer writing. So for answer writing, just maintain a few files. That files can be classified as some file for data or facts. There are some very common topics like literacy, gender, poverty, inflation, etc. throughout all the topics. Now some data for geography, from all the summits, the reports. Write down the data for each subject in one page. For example, you have chosen one sheet for polity, one for geography. You can add on as possible, but at least one sheet, and there you can write the facts which can be used throughout all the answers, some common facts. Then you can make another sheet for government schemes. Now do not go in depth of all the schemes, just know about the scheme, whether it is a state sponsored, central sponsored, the key feature, that is the beneficiaries which it is targeting, the rural, urban, or whatever the aim is, and the impact that it is causing. So the government schemes can be used while writing the answers. Next up, extremely important, is the Supreme Court judgments. Just write one line, that is the judgment, the case name, and the judgment given. If it is addressing some article, it is affecting some article related to that, then you can write it, article or the part it is affecting, for quick revision. This file can be used, for example, data, government schemes, Supreme Court judgments, these can be used for quick revision for the answer writing. So this will come very handy for you. What else? First, daily answer writing practice. Just start. Don't wait to complete the syllabus or complete the topic. As soon as you will start answer writing practice, trust me, it's going to not only help you in mains answer, but developing an overall clarity as well. You can start from the very second day of your study. For example, you have studied some topic like polity. You have studied the topic fundamental rights. Just look at some previous year question, or if you are looking some answer writing series, take a question, write down an answer yourself, compare the model answer or get it evaluated by someone. We also offer paid evaluation. If you want, you can do that, but you can even do self-evaluation based on the content that you have studied. So this will help you in relating that what you are studying and what UPSC is demanding. Is it in line? ऐसा तो नहीं है that you are studying something and exam में जो आया वो तो कोई link हुआ ही नहीं. So daily answer writing practice is very, very important. To add, you can follow one thing. If you want to track progress, if you don't want to join any test series, if you feel it's too early to join, just make a chart where you will write date, topic, time taken, marks, feedback. If you feel, then you can incorporate. If not, then you can skip. Now this can be made for subject wise or throughout all the syllabus. For GS, better you make it subject wise. For example, if you are covering polity, you have started studying polity. Now from the very first day, write down the topic on which you have attempted the question. For example, on fundamental right, you have studied fundamental right today, after at least a day's gap, so that you can actually check the knowledge. बहुत बच्चे ऐसा करते हैं, they'll study the fundamental right now and just within an hour they'll write the answer. That won't give a true picture of your understanding. So after a day passes, attempt a question, make sure you write the time. For example, it is a 10-mark question and you have taken 16 minutes. The marks that you are getting, you can avail paid evaluation from us, from any institute. You can do self-evaluation, get it evaluated from your mentors, and write down the marks. For example, in the beginning you are getting 2.5 marks out of 10. Feedback, if required, then you can write. Now what will this do? When you will keep on writing, for example, in emergency provisions, parliament, state legislature, For every passing day, you will track your progress. You will see the improvements that, okay, you were taking 16 minutes earlier. Now you are taking 16 someday, maybe 15, maybe 14 someday and 13. You can build confidence through this. You can know that you can see the progress, your growth. The marks will also improve. If they are not improving, that you will have a better picture that, okay, on these areas, for example, on emergency, you are getting 3.5 marks. On state legislature question, again, you are getting 1.5. So these areas you need to work more. You need to have a better understanding. You can go back to these topics for revision. These exercises are really helpful, and trust me, just covering the syllabus is not important, but writing answers is very important. For example, for prelims, your guesswork is very important. Similarly, for mains, answer writing is the key. It is going to decide your rank. Start it from the very first day. Syllabus is vast, but topics are easy to understand. आप उसको normally भी you will go through the NCERTs, आपको समझ आएगा. It's just there are number of things you need to cover, and through answer writing, just track the progress. Now, quickly, we will look at answer written by our student. Now here I'll focus mainly on the comments given by the evaluators, that actually which parameter is it checking. Let me read out the question first for you. It is a 15-mark question, so the word limit here is 250. Local governments are critical to India's development story, yet they are the weakest link in the chain of governance. Discuss with a special reference to the role of PRI, that is Panchayati Raj institutions, in planning and implementation of rural development programs. Now this question is taken from our series only, our answer writing series. You can go back and watch the model answer if you want. Here we'll look at the evaluation. Let's look at the introduction first. The Panchayati Raj institutions are constituted in the Indian Constitution under Article 243 to 243O by the 73rd Amendment Act 1992. It is of third tier of the government. Now, first, the comment here is mention short form along with full form once to use it in the answer in future. What does this mean? Student has written Panchayati Raj institution. Now here, if you will add this PRI, that is the short form of this, then this short form can be used in the answer later. But if you have not mentioned it first, then please avoid using short forms without mentioning the full form at least once. So write the full form, write PRI. Now throughout the answer, you can use PRI. For example, in the next heading, the student has used PRIs. So it's important to mention it first. Secondly, though the student has given some facts, that's good, the introduction is fact loaded, but part 9 is skipped. So always focus on the articles, the part, the amendment and the amendment year. Keep these 4 things in mind. The introduction gives insights about the topic. Because the introduction is totally fine, so the comment here is introduction gives insights about the topic. Now the student has used a heading, role of PRIs in rural development program. This heading is first, it is self-explanatory. That means some students, while attempting these answers, they have written just role and dash. Now, by making this self-explanatory, we already have an idea that what is going to be in the subheadings. Next, the comment here is use of heading is appreciated. Heading is clearly visible, that is, it is written in a box. It is amply highlighted to segregate the introduction and the body of answer. So the role of heading is not just to address the demand, but also to separate introduction and body. First point here is resource allocation for the rural development and equitable distribution of funds. Implementation, see, the content part is fine. We have given a comment, content is relevant as per demand of the question. What is more important over here is the structure. Student has followed point structure where he or she has used alphanumeric digits instead of the bullet points or arrows. Often the students use arrow, or they will use asterisk. Some might even use star. Better use 1, 2, 3, 4 or ABCD, as I always mention in my videos. So the structure using points is highly appropriate, is the comment given by the evaluator on structure. Content is checked, structure is checked, heading is done, introduction part is done, and the use of examples also is very good. So the structure completely looks neat and presentable. Now, coming to the next page, let's quickly zoom it for you. The next point is service delivery in rural and underdeveloped areas as basic amenities. Example, road, water, electricity. Now, the comment is on the handwriting of the student. The handwriting is not very good, I would say, but yes, it is neat and legible. Why it is neat? Because there is no cutting. So the handwriting is neat and it is completely legible. We are able to read all the words clearly. Then the next heading, because this is a 15-mark question, we always suggest that for a 15-mark question, use two major headings, that is 1 and 2. And for a 10-mark question, write one heading and the points under the main heading. So the student has rightly identified the second dimension and address the second dimension with the help of this link. So the comment here is addresses the second dimension. Coming to the points, first up is the constraint and decision making of local government for rural development by external pressure. Now, what is measured? External pressure, the point that there is too much external pressure. Second is lack of fund, which limits the ability of PRIs, decreases the investment in infrastructure, leading to backlog of development. So in the point, the student has used a note-like structure, which is fine, but better use sentences complete. This is also fine, but sentences will be better. So what is the comment here? Let me read it out for you. Though points are valid, but point 1 and 5 can be clubbed together. Now, what was point 1? It was about the external pressure, that is the interference or constant meddling in the Panchayati Raj institutions. Point 5 is lack of transparency and accountability in planning due to the political interference. Now, again, political interference is mentioned, which is a form of external pressure and external interference. The point would have been fine if it was about lack of transparency and accountability. That's it. So avoid the repetition of points. If two similar points are there, two similar dimensions are there, then just club it together. So political interference can be written here, and this can be solely about the transparency and accountability. Next, lack of financial devolution. Now, while addressing the dimensions, you need to keep in mind that dimension likhna hi important nahi hai. Just writing points is not important, but the key facts, the key points must not be omitted. For Panchayati Raj institutions, I have focused that the problem is planning. There is lack of planning, lack of funding, lack of skill development, training, and these points cannot be skipped. So lack of financial devolution must be mentioned. Therefore, the comment is given, value addition is done, that you need to mention such points. Coming quickly to the concluding part. Local governments play crucial role for development of rural or underdeveloped areas by implementing the government schemes, etc. So the conclusion is a repetition of the question. Why? Because the question was also asking about the development of rural. So conclusion can be more balanced. What can be done here? Some significance can be written, right? That the PRIs have played a huge role in the COVID-19 crisis during that. Then some way forward can be given, that fund devolution, lack of interferences, separate recruiting bodies, separate manpower can be given to the Panchayati Raj institutions. And then on these points, a concluding line can be written. So the conclusion has room for improvement, but I want to point out here, see, the student has done some cutting, but the cutting is neat. He has just drawn one line. So if the need arises, then just cut it like this way only. As per this evaluation, the student scored 5.5 out of 15. Now about the marking system, I'll give you some insights as well. Whenever a copy is evaluated, we always keep one parameter in mind, that is 50% marking, which is a UPSC standard. आपने toppers को भी देखा होगा, those who are getting 50% are the toppers. So for 50%, that is, if it is a 10-mark question, then 5 marks is the guideline. If a 15-mark question, then approximately 7 we'll take. 7.5 in extremely flawless answers, otherwise we keep it 7 the highest. So as per these, the marks are given. Kabhi students, they just jump in after graduation in the UPSC preparation. They feel like 15 में 5.5, this is too less. But trust me, 5.5 is a decent score for someone who has just started preparing. So if the content can be more precise, short forms are avoided, points are clubbed together, similar points are clubbed together, and some minute mistakes which are done are avoided, then surely he would have got at least 6.5 marks. But here the marks is 5.5. So the whole aim of doing this analysis was to make you understand how the evaluation is done, to have an insight about the examiner's mind as well. Accordingly, you need to write the answers and aim for fetching as much marks as possible. I hope this video was helpful for you for the upcoming mains, as well as if you have started preparing for prelims 2026. All the best, keep writing, practice, submit and get evaluated. Thanks for watching.